Hi, this is Eugene from threecubebros with a Shengshou 3x3 and a Ghost Hand 2 comparison. So these two cubes are really similar, and like from the outside they look pretty much the same, and the internal mechanisms are pretty much the same, but there are some slight differences in feel and the turning, so which is why I decided to do a comparison. So to compare the sizes of the cubes, they're actually very close. The Ghost Hand 2, which is on the left right here, is just barely smaller than the Shengshou. I don't even know if you can see this, but its difference is tiny. Everything else is just about the same, even the cubies, and they actually weigh about the same too. The color scheme of both these cubes is the standard Rubik's color scheme, which you should know by now, and for sticker quality, I'd say the stickers are probably actually the exact same. I don't know what they were doing with this, but even the shades are the exact same, but these are different cubes. The Shengshou 3x3 has a slightly smoother feel. The turning's a bit faster, but maybe because I tensioned it. The turning's practically the same. If I had to tension these exactly the same, they'd probably be the same. So to me, the Shengshou is actually slightly quieter than the Ghost Hand 2. Move on to corner cutting. So the Ghost Hand 2 can cut, let's see, cut too much, cut about half a cubie, 3/4 of a cubie. For reverse corner cutting, pretty much can't reverse corner cut. It's very hard for it to. For the Shengshou 3x3 corner cutting, it's just about half a cubie, and then 3/4 of a cubie is manageable. Maybe this much. Yes, it can cut more than a lot more. It can cut an entire cubie. Can cut more than the Ghost Hand 2. Reverse corner cutting, you can't reverse corner cut. That was just by luck. You just can't do anything, not even this much. You have to move it up to here for it to reverse corner cut. Let's move on to disassembly and pieces. This is where the cubes start to differ a bit more. And so I have the Ghost Hand 2 right here, and here are the edge pieces. Okay, so if you want to compare the edge pieces, they're actually a lot different, but they still have the same concept. So each of these, they have a rail that corner pieces can slide on, except that the rail is slightly different. Here it's differently shaped. On the Shengshou 3x3, it's slightly rounded, and there are some ripples right here. I don't know what they're for, on the right beside the ridge. And on the Ghost Hand 2, there's no ripples, and it's a lot straighter. So corner pieces, this is where they're slightly similar. They both have a hole like this, but the Ghost Hand is a lot more straightforward. It's curved and somewhat straight. Shengshou, it's actually still a 90 degree, but it goes a bit more for curvature, just overall curvature, and this part of the corner is slightly smaller. This side of the corner is slightly different. The top part of the stock right here is a bit more curved than the one on the Ghost Hand. The cores and the centerpiece are pretty much the exact same. They even have the same center cap with a little spot here, so you can take the center cap out, so you can tension the cube. Because of the similarities between these cubes, they do lock up sometimes, but because of the lack of reverse corner cutting, the corner cutting isn't actually that good. Same applies to the other cube, so they both lock up, and they both can't corner cut too well. For popping, if these cubes only pop a lot if you tension them too loosely, they pretty much have the exact same chance of popping, because once again, the pieces are pretty much the same. To conclude, I'm basically reviewing two cubes that are manufactured and designed the same way, but by two different companies. I'm actually not sure which came first, or if one ripped off of the other. I'd recommend buying any of these if you want to move on from a Rubik's brand, or you don't want to go directly to something like a Dine Zanshi or a Fangshi Shuangren. And these are pretty much cubes that are better than Rubik's, but they aren't necessarily the best, and you can get them for a pretty cheap price. If I were to choose one of them, then I'd probably choose the Shengshou 3x3, because it corner cuts slightly better, maybe because of the curved edge piece and the smaller corner stock, and I find it a lot easier to tension. The Ghost Hand 2 is pretty much the same thing, except it locks up a bit more, even though I've tensioned these cubes pretty much about the same now. That's all I have for my Shengshou 3x3 and my Ghost Hand 2 comparison. Thanks for watching. I'm Eugene from threecubebros, and bye.